Welcome to the Identity Crisis Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Jorge. I changed my name last week.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm his host, Sean O'Neill.
You didn't change your name? Did
No.
you not get the memo?
No, sorry.
What the fuck, dude?
Sorry, What's up? It's your boy, Stone Ill.
Stone Ill. How's everybody doing today? We are having a great day.
Yeah, weather's very nice.
Weather is nice, and it feels like automatically my whole mood is a lot better because of this.
Honestly, when you wake up and your windows are still open, you're like, I'm not sweating right now.
Exactly.
You're like
I was like, I'm gonna stay in bed for a little bit. I'm kind of snuggling.
I'm pretty sure that's why we all got up late today.
Well, yeah.
We were all laying there. We're just like,
I did see my alarm. I was like, another hour. It was so nice.
That's pretty much. I was so happy when I remembered I only have to work in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, this is gonna be nice. But that just means so many people are gonna come up out today.
You woke up at 1, dude. That's just like you.
Yeah, that's pretty much like me. Usually, if I don't have to be up, I'm not getting up, and that's a fact. I like my bed. Well, I don't like my bed.
I was about to say, no, you don't.
I like sleeping, but my bed sucks. But whatever.
So today we're going to talk about the interesting question that I came up with an hour before we started streaming. I mean,
we prepare in advance.
I'm always like, all right, we need to prepare, and then I just keep forgetting about it until the day I wake up.
Yeah.
And I obviously need to do it more, but it's just I think about it and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, and then I'll do this sometime.
Well, anyways, we're better at improvising shit on the fly anyways.
Yeah, but it's always good to have topics.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the question of today, or this week, or whenever you listen to this and wait for the next episode. Anyways, maybe this question.
September 5th, Saturday at 1:37 p.m. Okay, continue.
Okay, yeah. So the question of today is, what game have you played that just hit different? Now, what the hell does hit different mean? That basically means, what game have you played that lingered with you, that you kind of thought about after you turned it off or beat the game or whatever? Some games you just play a game and you're like, oh, that was fun, I'm done, I'll go do something else.
Right.
But some games you're like, fuck, dude, and you just don't stop thinking about it for a while. I've had a couple of those games.
I can pretty much guess one of them.
Which one?
Persona.
How did you know?
Mostly because you fangirl over that damn game.
I don't fangirl over it.
Uh-huh.
I fanboy over it.
Oh, cool.
There's a difference.
One's worse. Fanboying.
Yeah, it's definitely up there, just because I think it's kind of what really introduced me into the JRPG realm,
right?
Which I've been really into recently. And I don't know, it was just I think in a way it hit different because I kept thinking about its style throughout the game. It didn't have a huge emotional effect on me, but it's just damn, that's such a cool art style and shit like that. I love to play the music, the jazz tracks on the drums, because they're just so fucking fun and funky.
Some bagel said he's never played Persona, and I will say I have never played it either.
It's not a game for everyone, so I totally get
it. When I tried playing it on yours, it was very dialogue heavy or reading heavy, and I'm not one of those players.
Well, that's the thing. It's because half the game is running around, increasing stats by talking and interacting with people. The other half is JRPG stuff.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, and again, it's not for everybody, but.
Yeah, no, from what I love the art style of the game.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Even when I tried to mimic it, and it barely came out well,
it's a hard art style to
mimic. It looks so nice for what it is, and that's why the game itself is very pretty.
Oh yeah,
it's just not one that I would play.
Yeah, the style is really nice. Yeah. That's what lingers with me. The game is pretty. The game is fun. I think the story is pretty good, but really, just what kept with me through it all is the style.
Right.
It's just got so much. It's just it bleeds styles, or what's the phrase? If looks could kill, it would, because that game just has so much style to it. And that's what I love about it.
Right.
So what do you said you got a couple games that you can think of. What's one you throw out there?
I think for me, I'm gonna actually do a little bit different. I'm gonna start off with like the ones that had like a little bit of impact and work towards like the big one.
Wow,
of course,
I only have like 2 that I could already think of. You sound like you got like 5 or some shit.
I have a good amount of games. So I've pretty much shaped my gaming experience.
All right, hit me with them. Or hit us with them.
I would definitely say the first game, technically the first game I ever beat too, was Infamous.
I thought you were gonna say that. Yeah.
I love Infamous. Infamous was great. Pretty much for that game, I remember this. Right, I remember going into the back of Walmart where they had the video game station.
The foreign place.
Yeah, and you know
the darkest corner of Walmart where it oozed out black goo.
But you know the neck hurting stations where you're playing like this.
Oh,
up.
hell yeah.
And I remember that was like, I think a couple months after the PlayStation 3 released, and they had that little system, and Infamous was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember every time I would go to Walmart, I'd run to play Infamous. And I would sit there, and I just fell in love with building, or climbing all the buildings, firing electricity. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And go ahead.
Bagel says closest thing to me playing Persona is me playing Joker in Smash Brothers. That's fair. He's really fun in Smash.
But so every time, and then Christmas came around that year, and my dad decided to buy the PlayStation 3 bundle, which came with Gran Turismo, Batman Arkham Asylum, and Infamous.
That's a good bundle.
It is a really good bundle.
I don't like Gran Turismo, but I know some people do.
He played it. I mean,
True.
He liked playing those games. But that was the first game that I no-lifed, and I beat it. That was the first ever game that I beat, too.
The beginning of the doom.
And it was such a great game because it was the first free roam game I had ever played. I mean, of course, you couldn't leave the big city, but I mean, you could climb any
It was like
building.
pseudo open world. Though.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, then it came with like the first game that I played that had the choose your own path. You could either be a good guy or a bad guy, and I was like, all right, this is awesome. It was you could do whatever you wanted as long as you survived, and there wasn't like a currency in the game to like buy new items. I mean, as long as you played, you unlocked, and which I mean, I fell in love with that game, and for like even after I beat it, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Because there was, in like the middle of the game too, during the cutscenes, they weren't like animated cutscenes, they were the comic book panels that get thrown up. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And that's what really kind of sold me on it was this idea of you get to be this vigilante almost until you work towards one side. Either you become the villain or the hero. Mm-hmm. But it was told in the comic book sense. And there was enough action in the game to keep you entertained with the drama. It was super cool. I liked that one a lot. And I remember the ending of that game, like, when you had to choose what happened, was, like, crazy because that's what led into the second game.
Oh, okay.
Because there was a choice that you can make. You could either sacrifice yourself or let yourself live. And I remember they did reviews on it when coming out the second game that more people chose to let yourself live. That's the only reason there was a second game.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It was a cool-ass game. It's probably why I'm into more, like, action open worlds.
Yeah. You did make me get Infamous 2 when we were up in Michigan, so
that one is cool.
I'll have to play that.
I like that one, but not as much as the first one.
Really?
Because the first one's just unique to me.
True.
So I have like a deeper place in it, but I do love that one a lot, mostly because you can like merge powers together.
Ooh.
Oh,
that sounds cool.
It's pretty cool.
So is that like the first video game you ever really played?
No. I would. No, the first video game I remember ever playing was Splinter Cell on the PlayStation 2.
That's a weird one.
Well, I didn't know what I was doing. My dad just left the controller in the living room.
Well, I'm sure.
And I played. And, of course, I ruined the mission. And he was like...
A stealth mission? No.
Yeah, he was like, better luck next time. And I think that's where my pure hatred for stealth games came from.
Believe
that. And then on the PlayStation 2 era, me and my dad played a lot of the original Star Wars Battlefront. Yeah. So, I mean, I played video games prior to that, but nothing too crazy. Like, I didn't beat anything.
The first game I can really remember playing was Crash Team Racing on the first PlayStation.
Right.
I don't remember why we had it, but I mean, my dad's a real big fan of video games,
right.
Especially back then. And he probably had it for whatever reason, and I was like, oh, this looks fun, and I played it, and I don't know if I ever got good at it, or like, actually learned it or whatnot. I think I did, because I picked it up like a couple months ago just to try it again. And I mean, I kind of remembered how everything was. It took a bit, but I remembered it. But like my dad says like the first game that I really played and got into was Smash Brothers Melee, which I could definitely believe.
Smash Brothers are such a hard game for me to get into.
Oh no, I don't blame you. And I mean, I like I said, I had done it since I was a child.
Right.
So, it's also funny because I literally been playing Smash Brothers for like my whole life, but I am the worst at it. I'm not that great at it. I'm decent, but like I only recently learned about like dodging, like shields and all that stuff. It's because I would only play with CBUs. I'm kind of a lonely person, so I don't really talk to that much people. So I never really played with. Thanks. I never played against real people. I would always play against CPUs.
Right. I mean, but in a sense, that's how you need to play at the beginning, just to get the
but I did that beginning phase for 14 years or some shit like that. But another thing that was like made it that I really was a big fan of that game is, oddly enough, the manual. Do you want to know why? Because in the manual they had a list of every character and their movesets, and every single page had that, and I made those my imaginary friends.
Okay.
I am not joking. Literally, my first set of like imaginary friends were the characters from Smash Brothers, because I would just like take the manual and start reading it. And you get a good gist of who the characters are, whether you know them or not. Like, I never played an F-Zero game, but I had a good idea of who Captain Falcon was because of his little moveset. And, I would just fucking make random scenarios where, like, we're like secret operatives doing this weird shit and trying to, like, take down the bad guys. It's the Super Smash Brothers.
Sadly, I never had imaginary friends.
Really? I don't know if that's something you should be sad about.
I don't know. I feel like I missed out. But, no, I remember growing up and I never had imaginary friends. I know I had, like, what would you say, imaginary adventures, I guess? Or, like, you would play something out. But
I know what you're talking about.
But I never had, like, that, like, one person that, like, kept showing up. I'd be like, shit happens. I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And just like the same thing, I didn't really have that many stuffed animals.
Really?
I was not a stuffed animal kid.
A bunch of stuffed animals.
All right, so this is really a funny off story. My sister had so many stuffed animals, right?
I can believe that.
And she really wanted a trampoline.
Ooh.
And my mom and my dad were like, you get rid of 200 of your stuffed animals.
Wait. How many?
Kirsten had like 500.
What the fuck?
Yeah, she was
How
crazy.
do you have that many?
She loved stuffed animals. And then my grandparents just bought her all the stuffed animals she wanted.
Oh my god.
So my parents made the deal. So you get rid of like 200, we'll get you a trampoline. And I remember going up to, like, Goodwill with bags and then coming back home with a trampoline. I was like, this is awesome.
Meanwhile, your sister in the back is just silently sobbing.
Well, I remember this, like, clearly. She came up to me, she's like, can you hold on to, like, 100 stuffed animals? I was like,
I need you to bury them under the basin.
And I was like 5.
Hide them under the floorboards.
Tell
like, no one.
I'm like, I don't want stuffed animals. She goes, just take them. And I'm like, I don't want them. And then my mom was like, Kirsten, stop trying to get your brother. Just take stuffed animals. I'm like, okay.
That's pretty funny.
And then literally the first day we get the trampoline, I tried to do a backflip and like knock the wind out of me.
That's what you do.
I was just like, fuck this. I ain't never jumping on this thing again.
Honestly, like one of the closest the first time I like ever went to a doctor to actually have like any sort of x-ray was when I was on a trampoline and I hurt myself somehow. I honestly don't remember how I hurt myself. All I remember
as a kid, that's a very common occurrence. You're like, I'm hurted, but I don't know why.
I just scratched up my leg somehow, and it was literally, and it hurt a lot from what I can remember, and I could not move, so I thought it was broken. I mean, it wasn't. I'll tell you that. It would have been very clear if it was broken. So eventually, I was a whiny kid, so I eventually managed to wind my way into going to a doctor's office and get an X-ray, and all it was like my bone was scratched, which is still like, ow, but also not like broken. So
something happened to me like that as a kid. I don't remember what I did, but I was in the mall, right? And I was sitting on one of the benches, and then I guess I got up and I landed weird, and I just fucked up my ankle.
Really?
And
I know all about that.
Yeah.
I have awful ankles.
But I remember, like, I was walking, and all I hear is click, and I'm like, Dad, I can't walk. And he was like, what? And I'm like, 8. And I'm like sitting there crying already because, well, one, I just heard a click and now my ankle is hurting like hell.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? And we look at it and it's like, before I realized, I'm very double jointed. I could pop out a lot of my bones. I just shot my ankle out. And I like, and for like a week, I didn't figure it out until we just pushed it back in.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
That's such a gross thought to me. I kind of am happy that I'm not double jointed at all. I always say if half jointed was a thing I could be, like, look, this is as far up as I can put my pinky. It hurts.
Yeah. You can't even do like one finger at a time, can you?
Okay, so I have to like, I can do it, but I have to hold my fingers down. I can't with my with the ring finger. I can't. I have to bring up my pinky with it. It's so weird. That's why I always said if I could be half jointed, I am. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with not being double jointed because of shit like that. That shit grosses me out. Like,
it's not fun most of the time, but
I twist my ankles all the time.
Yeah, I'll say. I remember you like we were moving.
We were moving something out of your house, and I landed weird on my foot and just like twisted it a little bit. And honestly, it's like I just walk it off at this point because I've had it so many times.
I remember just being like, motherfucker. Like you were like, all I heard was like your foot scraped the ground, and you're like, I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, I still walked.
I know.
Walked it down there. But I was like cursing up a storm. I was like, fucking bullshit. God damn it. It pisses me off.
I can't believe my ankle, man.
Dude, it angers me. I literally just have a brace in my room.
Yeah, because you sprained your ankle one time.
Well, it's literally because I did it. The first time I ever twisted my ankle or sprained it was just in soccer practice.
Right.
Like I walked on it weird and then and it hurt like hell the first time. And then I did it. I like sat out for a couple games and then I did it again like a couple weeks later. And I was like, fuck. So we just got a brace for me, and then ever since then, my ankles have been like so easily to break or to twist, and it's so annoying. I hate it.
Well,
I also walk weird.
Getting back on topic.
Anyways, yeah, that little tangent.
Yeah. So I guess second in line. I technically second game I beat too. This is weird. It's technically all the games I beat.
No, I can see that.
I guess that's mostly because they had such a draw for me. That was. For this game was Pokemon Diamond and Pearl.
Okay.
I loved that game. I probably played through that game 12 times.
Really?
Yeah. Mostly because it was the first Pokemon game I ever got. It was actually gifted to me by one of the people we went to church with.
Cool.
Who
was it?
Kiana.
Oh.
Yeah. She played and she couldn't get past like the first boss.
I see.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to play it. More like I stole it because I wanted to play it. And yes. But anyway, so I'm sitting there.
Look at my diamond, my diamond cartridge. Hey, that looks like my no.
No, mine's DXJN. Yours is DXJM. but pretty much like I'm playing it right, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And it gets to your first Pokemon choice, which is like the main choice in any kid's path.
So okay, I gotta remember it's Chimchar, Piplup, and Torterra.
Turtwig, but yes.
Turtwig, but Torterra's later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Torterra is the final evolution, I do believe.
Turtwig, yeah.
So pretty much, first evolution. Of course, I picked Chimchar. Chimchar looked dope.
Yep.
And
firefighting never fails.
Dude, I was like, okay, yeah, we'll go with the fire monkey.
Fire monkey!
And I remember, this would be really funny. Before I realized the game mechanics was Dawn would always pick the opposite of you, the stronger. I went back through and picked Turtwig to be stronger. And she had Chimchar. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
What the hell?
So as a kid, I'm getting angry. And then I'm like, and then I did it again. And I picked Piplup. And then she had Turtwig. And I was like, this is stupid.
This bitch.
So then I restarted again. I'm like, fine, I'll go with Chimchar. So of course I'm going through. And I have I'm going through. And that's when I finally realized what effective typing was.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. I was like, this game makes sense now. And then I'm like, oh, cool. And for like the game, I was like learning, and I leveled up. I got my Chimchar to level 16 on Route 1.
Jesus.
Before, because I didn't realize I was supposed to move along.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I had a whole team of Staraptors. I was Route 1 goated.
The monkey and his fleet of birds.
I'm walking, I'm going up. Dawn's like, hey, let me show you how to catch a Pokemon. And I'm like, I got some.
Oh yeah, sure. I'd love to know.
Yeah, okay. And so going through, and I'm like, oh, there's other places you go, and then you get to the first city, and I'm like, oh, this is tight. And we're going through doing all the missions, and it's like, okay, well, you got to go up through the mountain and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's when I finally realized there was typings other than water, fire, and grass.
A whole new world.
And I was
like, oh my god.
And I was like, fucking first Geodude I caught. I was.
This is a rock.
It's a rock
with arms.
I was like, this is amazing. So, playing through the game. That's when I learned typing and everything. And I remember finally beating the game and having caught every Pokemon I could. Like, I caught every Pokemon.
Wow.
And I was very surprised.
The Pokedex was pretty big in that one, right?
Mm-hmm. And then, as a kid, you don't read most of the time.
True.
I finished the game with Chimchar and my team of Star Raptors.
Hell yeah.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because I didn't know how to access the PC to get my other Pokemon out. And
that's funny.
I remember looking up on YouTube when YouTube was just starting out. They're like, yeah, just hook it up to your PC. I literally hooked my DS to my PC.
Wow.
And I was like, what do I do?
What now? Dude, though, that is kind of a cool concept of hooking up your console to a PC.
Right.
And then, actually seeing what can happen.
Mm-hmm. I was just
accessing your, customizing your Pokedex with that.
Right.
That would be cool, honestly.
But I was so distraught as a kid. I'm like, how do I get these other Pokemon? I know I've caught them. And then it finally dawned on me. And I was like, what's this little thing in the nurse station? I'm like, oh, that's a PC.
Oh. I should probably touch that.
And I was like, why are the champions giving me so hard of a time? And then I finally, realized. And then I fell in love with the game even more because I finally got to use the other Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the final boss, and I was like, okay, well, I'm keeping my Infernape because he's just a badass.
I think I beat the Elite Four with my Infernape.
Yeah, I know I had Infernape, Roserade, who is one of my favorites, Electivire, which is another one of my favorites.
Roserade's the one with the actual flowers on her hands, right? Yeah, I can't remember.
Roserade's cool. Electivire is one of my favorite because it's the evolved form of Electabuzz.
Oh yeah, the giant fucking electric dude. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I had Machoke because I didn't know you had to trade to get Machamp until later on.
I remember learning that and just being pissed.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Actually, I might have had a guide. If I'm now that I start to think about it, I might have had an actual guide with me because my dad used to buy a bunch of video game guides.
He still does.
He has a couple, yeah. But he had a couple of them, and I'm pretty sure we had one for Diamond and Pearl, and I loved reading through those because video game guides used to be fucking cool. They used to be stylized to all hell, and they had a lot of cool little tips that no one really knew.
Yeah, I remember this is weird. I did a Call of Duty one with that, and that's when I first learned that some of the interactive maps on Call of Duty. There's a map. You throw a grenade in a certain spot, it would cause an avalanche.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I don't know. The Pokemon games, that Pokemon game in general was very good because that's what got me into the Pokemon stuff, and weirdly enough to help me with science.
Well, okay, because the typing thing?
Yeah.
I guess I could see that.
You're learning about that, and then, you have a full-on conversation.
That does make sense. The mind is good against physical.
Yeah. Wits versus power.
Exactly.
But, no, I remember having, a existential, conversation with one of my 5th grade science teachers. Because she was trying to argue evolution and, Christianity. I'm like, evolution's real? I'm like,
did you see this fucking Infernape? Went from Infernape to an I don't know.
A Chimchar to Monferno to Infernape.
Yeah, that's it. Monferno. Yeah.
And she was just like, you're talking about a video game. I'm like, still. But I don't know. I love that game.
Yeah. Isn't that the same one that also had the weird spelunking stuff?
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember thinking that was badass.
Yeah. It was cool. It took me a while to get used to how it worked.
Same. But I only had one friend that I'd play it with, so we'd visit each other's cave every so often. But that was cool.
Dude, first of all, Cynthia's still the best champion.
She is. Dude, that Garchomp, you were afraid of that bitch.
I loved Garchomp after that game. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Oh, Garchomp is still probably one of my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah. Something else is my first ever shiny.
Ooh.
I don't know if I ever told you about this.
Hold on. Okay, I'll tell you about mine first because mine is a little bit of a weird story, and I've never seen a shiny since. So back in I want to say the early 2010s, there was this app called GBA for iOS. I'm sure you know it.
Yeah.
The
emulator.
Yes, the Game Boy Advance emulator that was on iOS that kept getting shut down. But for a little while, it was the shit. And it was awesome. Dude, that was my first real experience or real understanding of emulators because, to be honest, we use emulators a lot.
Right.
But that was the first time I installed it and got it all set up, and it felt so cool. So I played Fire Red on there. That was the second Pokemon game I played. But Diamond and Pearl was first, and I tried to do Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but I didn't get very far into it. But anyways, Fire Red. So I'm just playing around. I'm beating it. It's a really good game. And then I get to, I think it's the mansion, or the research station where they've tried to find Mew, but it's all rugged and broken down now. And I just I'm walking across and I found a Rattata. I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, Rattata. And then I see it's a gold. It's like, the fuck? Is this
right?
Is this an emulator glitch? And I was like, what the hell? And so I screenshot it and I sent to my friend who also played Pokemon all the time. I was like, do you know what this is? And it took him a while to respond, so I was just like, oh well, and I killed it. I thought nothing of it and just kind of walked away. And then he texts me 3 hours later. He's like, don't kill that. It's super rare. Oh. And that's they're called shinies and they have a super low chance of spawning. I'm like, oh. Yeah, that's the first and literally only shiny I've ever encountered.
See, mine was in Soul Silver, right?
Ooh.
And I'm
not a bad remake, by the way.
Yeah, it was really good. I actually liked it. It was actually the first one that did a weird Pokemon Go type thing. Do you remember the little Pokeball?
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
I totally remember those.
I only know that because I put a Centret in there. I don't know why. I just had it.
I do remember those being super fucking cool.
Yeah, I had one at school. I did.
Did you ever get the toy? This might be just a super personal thing, and it wasn't that popular. But did you ever get a toy that was kind of like that, where it was literally just a Pokeball, and you could walk around and you'd be or I think you would shake it and Pokemon from Diamond and Pearl era would be just on the little screen inside the Pokeball and you could catch them.
No, but I want that.
It's so fucking cool.
Yo,
you tell your story and I gotta look this up.
You find that for me. But all right, so it's going towards the end. I think it was I want to say it was the one of the last gyms, if anything, right? And I'm walking through and it's all this big lava area. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that this is where you caught Dratini's.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm sitting there, I'm walking through, I'm like, oh, look at this. I'm like, that's a cool Dratini.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought they're supposed to be blue, not purple.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
oh my god, a Dratini though.
I'm like, that's weird. Restart.
Oh my god.
And then,
dude, a Dratini shiny? That's fucking crazy.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's weird. That probably wasn't meant to happen. And I'm like, all right, so I can still go back through, and I'm walking back through, and I'm like, oh, cool. All right, my game's fixed. I got another blue Dratini. A little bit later, I'm watching some guy play Pokemon, and I'm like, what is this shiny thing he's talking about? And then I look it up, and it's color variants of a specific Pokemon. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I thought that was a glitch. And then it dawned on me of what I did to a Dratini, which, if you don't know, Dratini evolves into Dragonite.
Yeah.
As a kid, I cried because I was like, oh my god! I was like, my rare chance of finding a purple Dratini, this base encounter, just right out the gate, and I was like, I ruined my life. As a kid, I'm like, I didn't even play Soul Silver anymore when I figured this out. But even then, I was like, I ruined everything.
Okay, yeah, I found it.
Okay.
I found one on eBay. So here, it's a little Pokeball that's got a screen inside of it, and what you would do is I think you would shake it around, and then you would find Pokemon, and it'd be like, look at this Pokemon. You can read on the side, the actual little things, and then if you it was a random chance rate because you couldn't actually fight, but you would be like, it's a whatever, it's a Pikachu, and then you would throw a Pokeball, and then it would be you'd close it, and it'd be boop, 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 bing, if you caught it, or you could lose it. And if you caught it, it would actually go into your Pokedex, and you could like look through your Pokedex. So I would like randomly get like a fucking Dialga or some shit. I was like, oh, I gotta get this, dude. It was so cool to just kind of sit there and just like shake it and try to find a random Pokemon.
You know, it'd be really fun.
What?
This is gonna be a really weird stream idea, but we need to get 2 of these.
Okay.
Right? And we need to catch where we'll have 30 minutes to catch a team of 6. And then you can go online and you can do battles, like custom battles.
That would
Pokemon,
be funny.
And we have to do with the Pokemon we caught.
Well, if you can find one that isn't $80 on eBay,
Jesus.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my phone's about to die.
Your phone's burning up.
Well, I'm doing a lot of things on it.
Yeah, that's true. All right. You have any more games?
I have. Well, mine is like kind of like emotionally based. So if you want to keep going up,
Okay.
going through your list.
So, weirdly enough, for the next game, I didn't start with the games.
Okay.
I started with the books that came out about the games.
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh no.
The first manga I ever read was a Kingdom Hearts manga.
Yikes.
I think it was the Final Mix series.
I don't remember. I've seen them all
That's
over the place.
like the main one without any of the outside drama.
The crazy shit.
Yeah. So, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh shit, Donald and Goofy and Mickey
I love those guys.
hanging out with this guy with a sword that's a key. This is badass.
Dude, you got me so
They're going to different worlds. They visited Hercules?
Bro.
I'm like, but this is legit. So then I'm like, all right, well I gotta play the game.
I gotta charge my phone. It's bothering me.
But I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, I gotta play this game. Like it doesn't matter what I do, I have to play it. And so there one day randomly, after like searching GameStop, and they didn't have it because it was still a popular game at the time. I go up to this yard sale, and this like old lady, who I guess was like just selling all of her son's shit, had a like collector's editions box of Kingdom Hearts, like the first game, and for only 50 cents. And I bought it, and I still have it with me. But, disc was crashed out of hell. So I got a little bit sad. But then I finally found one on eBay, so I played it. And I did not realize what type of shit I was getting into. Because, one, the lore of that game is beyond anything comprehensible. Dark Souls lore is easier to follow than Kingdom Hearts lore. And that's saying something, because Dark Souls lore sucks. But as you're sitting there, I'm playing as a kid. I'm like, this is awesome, learning all the mechanics. And then it's like, all right, here's the main bad guy. You thought the Heartless and Maleficence was the bad guy? No, she's just a pawn. Like, 7 Princesses of Light? No, we don't need those. We're actually here for all of the Princesses of Light and Princesses of Darkness to open up the Kingdom Hearts, which is actually just a moon, but not a moon. It's a container. Yeah, that makes sense, right? So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then,
why wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, by the way, Cloud Strife is here.
Looking epic.
Yeah, Ansem, who was also 3 other people in the storyline.
Yeah, there's like 4 Ansems.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
but I'm sitting there playing the game, and that game sticks with me because it's the only game that I thought was like, all right, yeah, this makes sense. And that just fucked with me afterwards. I was just like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I'm like, there's so much more. And then it's like, oh, you played Kingdom Hearts? Have you played 364 and a half? Or like all this? Have you played Reawakening, Chains, or like the Link of Chains? And I'm like, huh?
What?
Me like Heartless. Yeah. What about the Nobodies? You like the Nobodies? And I'm like,
What's a nobody? So I played Kingdom Hearts. Okay, so I tried my damnedest to get into Kingdom Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried so hard. I've watched so many videos on the lore. I'm I know, I get the lore now.
right.
After what, like a fucking, probably 24 hours of just trying to
Oh,
understand.
it takes a while to get the lore.
Like, I get it now. I tried playing the first one. I hate the controls on the first one.
Controls are rough.
I tried playing Chain of Memories. The card system's so fucking weird in Chain of Memories. This is all stemming from my memories of playing 358 and a half days, or whatever the DS one was called. Because I remember as a kid fucking loving that game. That game was so fun as a kid. And I was like, oh, what's it? Because this is the only Kingdom Hearts game I'd played, so I had no idea what the fuck was going on.
That's the one with Roxas, isn't it?
That was so that one was about Roxas, which was Sora's nobody, but it still had Sora's heart in it because Sora had unlocked his heart after giving it to Kairi. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and don't forget that, what is it? Sora's being watched over by another girl who is Kairi's nobody, that when they intertwine. So technically, Roxas and...
what was her fucking name? Like, starts with an X. It's really confusing.
Yeah, but they're all nobodies, and then you have Axel, who's one of my favorite characters.
Badass.
Mostly because of his fucking weapons. I really want.
And then him like becoming a Keyblade master was so cool to me.
Him and Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, that seems cool.
He's badass, but he changed his name to something. But I still call him that. Yeah, that's right.
Lee, isn't it?
Yeah, he was something very.
Well, that's
basic.
because what he was called before. Because all of the Organization 13 members have their name jumbled up and added an X to it. The X is because it's part of Xehanort's thing. That's how he keeps track. Anyway,
there's also a thing. It's if you kill the Heartless and the Nobody, you return to your original.
You return to your original form, but you have to make sure you kill the Heartless and the Nobody, because every time you die as a normal person, your body splits in two, becoming a Nobody and a Heartless.
Yeah,
which are two separate things.
Yep, but it makes sense. You're just dumb.
It doesn't. The fucking writers just like keep changing everything
I honestly do not believe there's one writer for the whole story. There's no way.
No, there isn't, because they just keep changing it.
Yeah.
And if there is, then he's insane.
Yeah, but no, the every game that goes up with it is great. I love it. Mostly just because I love Disney and I like seeing what Disney might be in the shadows, because I think Disney World did something one time. Where they took all the people away, and then they just had Sora, like a cosplayer of Sora, sitting in the middle, and he was like, they turned into Heartless, and everybody was like, "What is going on?" And then they're like, "Yeah, all right, not enough people play the game, cancel it." And I'm like,
wow.
I want this.
Like an in real life ARG.
Yeah.
For Kingdom Hearts. That sounds
like
weird.
It was going to be like a search of
the fuck?
Disney World to find them.
That would be fucking crazy.
And they I think if I remember correctly, they had certain areas of Disney World covered in little black spots with our eyes, so you could see where the darkness was going. If you went in there, you would have to do a little puzzle to defeat a boss, and then you could unlock Ariel or something.
That's pretty cool.
She would give you another thing. I'm like,
that sounds like Magic Quest.
Yeah. And I was like, this is badass. And they're like, nobody knew what they were. They were just there for the rides. I'm like, man, if you told the Kingdom Hearts people,
oh, hey,
you need to be here.
If you marketed that, it would be fucking crazy.
You would have people like, oh my God.
Yeah. Because, the Kingdom Hearts fandom is big.
Yeah.
People love their fucking Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's not
good. I don't know. Once you're tied into it, And you're just like, oh, well, guess I'm here now.
I also did. Okay, so first of all, if you ever want to learn about Kingdom Hearts at all, especially the story, go watch Barry Kramer's video on it.
He's really good.
A good enough summary of Kingdom Hearts is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And he's really fucking funny. And it's a really good recap with a good comedy to it, and just kind of down to earth stuff.
Right.
There's a bunch of videos recapping the story, but they're 3 hours long. That one's 30 minutes, and he does full animations for all of it. It's really good. But so I watched a bunch of those videos, and then, oh Christ. So there's also a huge fucking document. Okay, so I guess I should give some context to this. So, Kingdom Hearts, the first Kingdom Hearts was pretty normal per se. It was Japanese weird, but not too out there.
Right. Then
you get Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance, and it's okay, this is odd. Who are these guys? Okay, whatever. It's still it's new, but it's not it's not confusing yet. It just has some threads sprinkled into it. And then you get into fucking Kingdom Hearts 2. And that's just where everything breaks down.
And then 2.5, which is even worse. Then 2.25, legitimately.
Yeah.
And
Kingdom Hearts 2 is where you can start seeing things break down.
Yeah.
And Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in fucking 2001 or something. Came out a long time ago. and Kingdom Hearts 3 came out in 2018.
It was a long way.
I mean, there was a bunch of games in between that, I mean, were technically mainline, but still. Kingdom Hearts 3 was supposed to be the penultimate Kingdom Hearts game.
Right.
After fucking like 20 years of Kingdom Hearts, that was supposed to be the game. And everyone's like so hyped for it. There's like a really bad trailer. Do you remember the trailer where it doesn't have any sound effects to it? Oh my god, what a fucking weird trailer.
They failed on that one.
And so yeah, the game comes out. People are like, okay, this is fine. The gameplay's fine. The story makes no sense.
Yeah, the story was so convoluted with everything that they were trying to make sense, and nothing made sense, which made it even worse because now people are trying to figure out the new storyline, which at the end led into a whole nother thing.
Oh my god. So, okay. So there was this whole really bad... The point is, Kingdom Hearts 3 had a not very conclusive or good story.
Yeah.
So not long after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, a document surfaced that was like 300 pages long or something like that, called the Dream Theory.
Yeah.
Where the whole theory was that the game is a dream. That the Kingdom Hearts 3 happens in a dream. And it is somehow more convoluted than the Kingdom Hearts shit.
Yep.
So I was listening to an actual Barry Kramer's stream on as his real good friend who knows all about Kingdom Hearts talks about it and goes over it. It's fucking wild. And this was like late night and I was like super tired and I just like started scrolling through stuff on Kingdom Hearts. Just shit happens. I wound up just buying the whole collection for like $40 on Amazon.
I still...
I don't either,
no,
okay?
Let me tell you what that text said. Hey, I pulled a U.
That's right, I did say that.
I'm like, what does that mean? I made an impulse buy. Of what? The Kingdom Hearts collection.
Dylan, which is all Kingdom Hearts games and 3. No, for $40, that's good.
I literally went, Dylan, you don't even like those games. Fuck, you're right. Why did I buy that? I don't know. Too late now, I guess.
I still have it. I've barely even opened it.
Bagel said, I don't think I can ever play Kingdom Hearts. Honestly, don't. Just watch a playthrough.
You really don't need to. Honestly, the best stuff is just Barry Kramer's video. Yeah. That's all you need.
Yeah, if you want to know about it, just watch a video. If you even think about playing it, you better think that you're done.
Be prepared.
Yeah, you're going to invest a lot of time. It's not worth it.
It's a lot. You need to kind of be following it as a kid.
But it was, like 1 o'clock in the morning when you sent me that text.
Yeah, it was late.
And I was just like, that's what you bought?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I have it in my shelf. Maybe I'll try it again at some point. Probably not.
Probably not. It was still really funny to me, though.
But okay, what time is it right now?
It is 2:17.
Oh, okay, we got time. All right, so what's your next game? Or how many more games you got?
I got 2.
Okay, hit me with them.
All right, so this one will go by kind of fast. Was Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Ooh, that's a good one.
2, specifically. Because 1, that got me onto the Civil War storyline.
The worst storyline.
I love that storyline.
Marvel Universe.
I think it's great. Because it's mostly just, beat the shit out of other superheroes. Which is what I was about. I like the idea of it. And it actually introduced me to what I know now of Marvel Comics. Because, when you're first starting out, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, and Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, back then, you didn't really even know Iron Man.
Yeah, that was your 4 squad going into the first mission. And then I was like, oh, cool. And
and I gotta admit, the opening scene in that game is so fucking good.
Even like
the whole Iron Man. I mean, it introduces the game it introduces the gameplay mechanics, the story, and all of that just so well, and like a cutscene.
And then, you're playing through, and as a kid, they're like, all right, we need to call in reinforcements. I'm like, all right, shit, who are we getting? We just getting some soldiers? Call in the Fantastic Four. They come down, and I'm like,
I know those guys. Fantastic Four. Did you ever watch that show?
Yes.
Oh my god, I love that show.
So, and then it's like you switch to that team. And then I just see on the bottom, press select to change your characters. And I'm like, I'm sorry?
There's more?
And I look, and then there's this whole scroll. I'm like, huh? And I'm sitting there, I'm playing through. And I remember I tried to get my dad to play with me, but he hated it because I just run through the mission. He, like, how the camera is.
Yeah.
I'm up here, he's back here, just getting dragged along. He's like, I'm never playing this game with you again. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Fine, you're lost.
So I'm sitting there, I'm playing through, and I'm like, loving the game. And I just remember unlocking every skin for every character, unlocking every character. I remember getting so upset because I made the wrong choice, and I lost Miss Marvel, like the black suit Miss Marvel, because she ends up going with Shield. I went underground. I didn't want to be with Shield, and I was like, fuck. I was like, no, I hate this.
His favorite character is Miss Marvel, by the way.
Yeah, and
for no reason other than she's hot.
She's hot. She's awesome. But I remember being so mad, and my dad was like, just play through the game. You'll probably get her back. Fucking end of the game, I get her back. Final boss fight. First of all,
who is the final boss in that?
The original Nick Fury.
Oh, that's right.
With the needle gun, but he ends up like infusing himself with powers, and you have to fight him. And it's not a great boss fight. I mean, I beat it first try as a kid.
Yeah, it's a weird game.
Yeah, but I mean, still, I loved it. It was awesome. And that final boss fight is like the one that pisses me off.
Why?
Because, boss fight, he's OP, right? He does all this shit. You get him as a playable character. No, stop. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, you were OP 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
You were causing destruction on a global scale 5 seconds ago. Now you barely shoot a laser out of your fingertip.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose my shit. So, I never played with him. Like, that was the one character. Like, once I got him, I was like, this is stupid.
What's even matter?
And then again, I get mad because once you beat the game, you can't go back and replay any story missions.
That's weird.
Yeah, you can only do, like, training. And I was like, well, this is stupid. So, restarted the game. This time, went with Shield to keep Captain Marvel and enjoyed the hell of the game even more.
Nice.
But, no, I really liked that game. Mostly because it was, like, that was, like, the first team-building game I had. Mm-hmm. The first game that I actually went and found all the, like, collectibles to unlock Jean Grey, Thor, and Hulk.
Nice.
Which, they're busted OP.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Jean Grey especially.
Oh, Jean Grey, yeah. I remember her being fucking crazy.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So, I'm going through, I'm collecting everything. I'm like, this is a great game. And that's, like, the one thing I was like, anytime that I can get that game, I get it. Like, I have it on the PlayStation 4. That would actually be a really fun stream game one day.
Yeah.
But, I was playing it. I was like, this game is what it is. And I remember I got the first game, weirdly, like the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance for Wii.
I think I had it for the Wii, too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I remember playing it, and I'm like, okay, well, one, this game doesn't hit right because it's not the second one. The second one was better than the first.
Yeah.
But I remember playing with it on the Wii, and I'm like, I don't like these controls.
Well, I mean, the Wii in general had weird controls.
Yeah. But I also remember my sister being pissed because she wanted to watch a movie that night.
Okay.
And for some reason, I don't know why my parents were on my side on this. They should not have been, because it was a movie that made sense to watch. I mean, it was around Christmas time. It was like a family movie. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but I want to play Kingdom Hearts. Or not Kingdom Hearts. Sorry, my bad. I just read that again. But I want to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Uh-huh.
And my dad was like, all right, we'll play it. So I put it on. And my sister goes berserk. She's like, we thought we were watching a movie and everything. And my mom goes, Kirsten, if you got something new, you want to play with it too. And my sister goes, I just got the movie today. And my mom was
yeah, I do want to.
Yeah. My mom was like, you can wait. And I'm like, this is where the youngest comes in handy. I am the baby.
Yes!
I was like playing the game, and my sister's so pissed. I was like, this is awesome. My sister hated it.
What's Iceman about? He's so stupid. He's just man of ice.
I remember my sister getting so mad at me anytime I played video games because for some reason as a kid, I would also wake up like super early, run downstairs, and claim the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So they couldn't watch fucking Gilmore Girls because it was a stupid ass show. So I would sit here and I'd be playing Infamous and they'd be like, all right, another hour. And I'd be like, once Dad gets back from work, you can have it. And Dad didn't get back till like 5 in the afternoon. And I was like, fuck you guys. And then I just took it upstairs and played.
I kind of have a funny story related to that. So I would, you wake up early as a kid.
Right.
And you're like, you want to play games. But I mean, my parents try to always restrict video, like how much time I play video games. Which honestly founded my hate of the outdoors, so I blame you for that, mother and father.
Father.
So I would always have to like wake them up to ask them if it's so funny to ask them if I could play video games. So I would like walk into their room and ask them, but I was also too scared to wake them up, so I literally would just stand there by the bed waiting just waiting. And in retrospect, I can see how fucking immensely creepy that could be as an adult, especially as my dad who loves horror movies. Pretty much, that's exactly what I would do. I would just be like,
are you gonna see your dad wake you up and be like, Father, I would like to play video games? Jesus, Dylan.
I mean, kind of. He'd be like, just groggy. He's like, oh, God, what? Like, can I play the Wii? He's like, yes, just go.
Doesn't matter.
And again, like, my dad would always watch like scary movies late at night before bed. And so,
oh my God,
I mean, you can
awesome.
imagine. I think he even said he watched like The Strangers at one point, which is a whole home invasion movie where there are little kids around, and he was just like, "You freaked me out so bad that day."
I honestly would have punched you. I'd be like, oh my God.
I mean, I was too afraid as a kid to like wake them up, so I would just wait for them to awake to the fear of a child standing right next to them.
Can you feel me staring into your soul, Father?
That's so bad.
That's so good.
Again, in retro, as a kid, I didn't think it was that big of a problem, but in retrospect, I'm like, yeah, that freaked me the fuck out.
It's almost like what we were doing fucking last night when you had the onesie on and you walked up and I was to the Father, I know you have graham crackers.
So if you didn't know, we streamed yesterday and I wore a onesie, like a reindeer onesie, and we were just getting food, and then we just had this like weird realization of what was happening. Like it sunk in right there.
We just started laughing in the hallway. We just like, what the fuck are we doing? Because he's walking around in a onesie, like just straight up like a little kid, and I'm just sitting there cracking up. He goes, what? And I'm like, Father, I would like graham crackers. I know they are in your right pocket. Mother has given me this information. It was just so good. Oh my God.
All right, so what's your last game? No,
Obviously, good old God of War.
Yeah, I was gonna guess God of War.
Oh, God of War is great. Mostly because I played the ones leading up to it, so I knew the story, and I remember like first log.
You knew the sex.
Me and Aphrodite, I got that trophy. You better know. It was seriously a puzzle for buttons, so you had to watch it.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, you literally had to like make sure you press everything. I remember as a kid, I'm like,
just imagine you're in bed, you're like, boop.
You're like, boop, circle, L1, square. Fuck. That was a light attack.
Oh no.
But I remember like and you're playing the old games, and he's a mad god. He's going crazy.
Oh yeah, he's a God of War,
ripping people's heads off, literally. And you're like, okay, and you can log onto this game. He's just a solemn old man with a kid. And you're just like, boy, and you're just like, where's the Chaos Blades?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And you're just playing through. You're like, oh, okay, I guess he settled down. And then and then you're playing through. You're like, oh well, first of all, this game is fucking beautiful.
Oh, it looks
like,
so pretty.
Right off the bat, you're like, oh my God. And you start going through, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, all right, well, there's bad guys. We're trying to bring wood back home so we can build a fire and whatnot. I mean, you have Leviathan axe.
Yeah.
Chopping down trees, and little monsters appear. There's a big giant troll that you kill. That's just teaching you the game.
The tutorial stuff, yeah.
Right. You get home, and you're like, oh, okay, well, what's the wood for? You're just burning your dead wife because she just passed away. And you're like, oh, okay. Little kid Atreus is being a little shit, getting angry, which Atreus has like literally the best character development in any video game. And so you're playing that, and you're like, cool. You go back in. It's like the game's telling you a little bit about what happened, a little bit of father-son backstory, and you hear a knock on the door, like, hey, who the fuck is this? Motherfucker Boulder walks up, which Boulder's a god in Norse mythology.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, you're a lot smaller than I thought you'd be. And Kratos is just like, leave. Like, now. And he goes, no, you know what I'm here for. And Kratos is like, leave before you get hurt. And Boulder's like, oh, you think you can hurt me? And Kratos goes, yeah. And like Boulder throws like this one punch, and like Kratos goes like this, and he goes, and I'm just like, and Kratos just goes crazy. I mean, it's like an epic battle going on, and you're like, holy shit. And Boulder's just getting up after everything, and that's when you like figure out pretty much like, oh, this is just a god. He didn't introduce himself, but later you figure out it was Boulder.
I see.
And so you're like, holy shit. And then you have to leave because you're being hunted now.
Yeah.
So pretty much, you start going in, and you go into this huge fucking world which is just beautiful because you pretty much go to the tree at Yggdrasil, where you access all the other worlds.
Cool.
Beautiful. I mean, the world serpent you see is spectacular because it's constantly moving in the background of the game.
Really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
And you can see it no matter what. You can even like throw your axe at it and it'll interact with you. It'll look at you'll like throw your axe at it and be like, you're just like,
what me? Okay. You like give it to the boy.
And I was you did it. And you know you're like talking through, and I can't say much because I don't want to spoil the game.
Yeah,
but
I haven't played it.
It's so great. The story is like does a full like 180 to where you're like, oh my god, the story makes so much more sense now because you're thinking like, okay, they're following me for the one reason, not the other reason you're thinking of. Even in one of the missions, you have to go to, I want to say, Helheim, I think, which is hell, pretty much.
Sounds like it.
They're very creative with names.
I know.
Mythology. But you end up seeing a vision of Zeus, like, and hearing the old conversation, which is talking to the old games, because this isn't technically God of War 4. This is just God of War. It's a new run.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a sequel. Huh.
Yeah. So that's not God of War 4. That's just God of War.
Yeah.
It ends. So technically, it's a whole new game series.
You could call it God of War.
But
Sorry.
but pretty much like, say, you know, like that's what happens. Like, oh, sweet, they talked about one of the old, like my favorite games, and then you get back out, and that's when like everything starts like making sense about what's going on, and you're doing the boss fight, and you're like, okay, this makes sense, and so the story amazing, scenery beautiful, got me really even more into Norse mythology than I already was.
Yeah. Because you've been into mythology.
I love mythology. I mean, it's pretty much storytelling and science mixed together.
Yeah.
Which is, two of my favorite things. And I was like, that makes sense. I'm like, I love it. So, I'm playing the game, and it's just so beautiful. All the things you can unlock, the customization in the game, amazing. Even finding all the Valkyries, doing everything like that.
Did you ever beat them all?
Yes. I finally beat the Valkyrie
remember
Queen.
you, like, just spending, like, a whole weekend trying to beat the Valkyrie Queen.
Yeah, it took me a little
bit.
bit.
Such a bitch of a time.
And I'll let you know, there's actually there's a Infinity Gauntlet reference.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah,
Yes, I remember those.
Depending on what runes you do, you can have different abilities. But so yeah, game's beautiful. And I will say, one of the coolest things that they did was if you went and looked for it, you could find the prelude to the next game.
Ooh.
Which is at the end of the game, once you beat it, you go back to your house, right? And you and Atreus, you're like hanging out. You're like, all right, time to go to sleep. Storm goes off. And you're like, what the fuck?
Uh-oh.
And you go outside, and just in like one blink of lightning, you see Thor, like Norse mythology Thor, which is the big red head, big hammer just standing there, and then it cuts the scene.
Hell yeah.
And you're just like, oh. Oh, yeah.
I guess I never thought about that. They would probably be making another one. That came out 2018.
Yeah. But when that next one comes out, you better know I'm going to pre-order it. I'm going to get whatever statue comes out. Because
that's a collector's edition one.
Yeah.
That's a nice statue. Yeah. I gotta admit.
It's a pretty dope statue. And I was looking at it and I'm like, all right. I'm like, if they do one, I want it to be Thor fighting Kratos.
That would be cool if they have it Thor fighting Kratos. You can just put it in the middle there.
I'm going to do a little close with it.
But yeah, I've never played the game, but I've been meaning to because it looks great. I will say, I've seen, I don't know if you know, they made a documentary about making the game, and I've watched that. It is crazy.
Oh,
it's also really interesting watching the actors. So I guess minor spoilers here. Like when he gets the Chaos Blades. Like the whole. Did you see like the shot by shot comparison with the actor performing it and then the it in the game?
Yeah,
it's so crazy. Like the actor gets like emotional, like super emotional going through this and like getting up the Chaos Blades and like I guess I don't even really know the context, but even then you can just feel the like power behind it. Like he starts crying.
I will say it is probably the best choices for voice acting there could be.
Oh, he's so good. He's like a good because they do mocap in a lot of it. Yeah. He's a good voice actor. He's a great actor. It's really impressive.
The Witch in the Woods, who you later figure out everything, she does even great too. Like I love her. She's probably one of my favorites just because of how they told her story in a sense. And then just the the ending, which you probably won't understand a little bit of it, but if you ask me, I'll answer your question because it makes sense later on. You're like, holy shit, that makes sense, because it's loops on loops, pretty much.
I see.
But it's such a great game, so beautiful. I mean, I've done New Game Plus already, just unlocking the new armor set. I love that game.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for you to play it because I really think you're gonna like it.
Yeah, I do too. Just haven't gotten around to it. So those are your the games that hit different.
Yeah, man.
So I've got one more, and this is on. I could probably think of more, but this is the one that kind of stands out to me as soon as I think of it. So you're probably gonna laugh, but the game that I can think of that really hit different was Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh, I know why.
Yes.
Yeah, I know why.
Okay,
because
so
I remember getting that text, and I was like,
it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Because the whole concept. Okay, so I mean, it's sort of spoilers, but they really revealed it before the game even came out, so it's kind of spoilers, kind of not. Whatever. You play the first half of a game as a professor at a huge school for these people in this country. They're the next great leaders and the next great rulers of their little area.
Right.
You take those 3 houses and you choose a house to join. And you take that house and you become their teacher, and you go through the whole game playing those with those characters. So I look through, when you see the leader of the house, and then you see all their others, and you get to look through all their character stats and see what you like, and you just honestly, I spent 30 minutes looking through them all.
Right.
And eventually I'm like, okay, the Black Eagles, that one looks pretty cool, so I choose the Black Eagles. And for people that already know, they know that's an interesting decision, because throughout the whole game there is this there's these evil people. They're an evil group of not really mercenaries, but they're just evil magic users that are trying to get one of the sacred weapons that were made by the gods years ago.
Right.
But those can easily corrupt people, and a lot of bad shit happens. So you're every so often you fight these evil magic people. And then they keep coming in and out of the story. And then you finally get one of their leaders, or one of their pseudo leaders, on the ropes. And as soon as you get there, you beat the mission, you take out the leader, and then one of them kills your dad, who you've been hanging out with the whole time, and becomes a leader in the game, or a leader of one of the armies. And he ends up killing your dad. And this is you're a silent protagonist throughout of it. And because, of course you are.
Right.
In Nintendo, that's how it usually is. And then this is the first time your character cries. And you're like, damn, dude. Because he's a well-written character, and he's a really cool character. So you're like, damn, that sucks. So you keep playing a little bit. And then you get to a point where the leader, the church leader, basically, because the school is also a church, and the church leader finds out something crazy about you. I won't really reveal it, but you find out you're a pretty important person, and then so they go do some sort of ritual, and as soon as you're about to complete the ritual, you find out that one of the house leaders was actually one of the army leaders of the enemy nation you were fighting, and wouldn't you know it, it's the house leader of the house I pick. And I was like, what?
Damn.
A lot of people thought, I've seen a lot of people say they've found this coming. But as someone who was who chose the Black Eagle house, my mind was fucking blown. I thought it was a trick. Because as soon as it happens, they're she gets in her whole suit and stuff, and she's I can't remember what they're called, but she's fellow mercenaries, attack them, and you're just what? And then it immediately cuts to a battle against her, the house leader that you've literally built relationships with, because half of the game is talking with these people and building relationships through it with people in your house and outside of your house. So like already I'm fucking pissed.
Right.
Like I had worked with this person for so long, it feels like you actually built a real relationship with them. You're like connected to them, you understand them, and now you have to fight them because they completely oppose you. I'm like, this has to be a trick. There has to be something. So I'm like, I'm going through this battle so slowly because I'm trying to figure out how to not kill her. If there's any semblance of a way to not kill her, you basically have to do it. So you get up there and you eventually knock her out. And then the cutscene plays and you have to choose whether or not to actually kill her. And this is like the heaviest deviation in the story because there's multiple routes in multiple sections. Because if you kill her, then, well, okay, if you try to kill her, then she runs away, basically. But if you decide to join her, you have to completely oppose the whole church and every other character you have been interacting with that's outside of the people you've already recruited.
Jesus.
So if you do that, which I decided to do, because I'm like, I gotta trust her. Because, again, we've been experiencing their character development for so long. And so, I join them. A little more story happens, and then you find out you are leading an attack on the church school that you just were a part of.
Jesus
and you're like, what the fuck? So, okay, another thing I should point out, if you've never played Fire Emblem, the biggest thing is that death is permanent in that game. Permanent. So death has literal weight to it. I mean, in this game, you have something like where you can go back in time because it doesn't want to end. That's a little too brutal. But if you kill an enemy, then of course they're dead. And it's like, oh, whatever. Who cares if they're done? Well, you care now because now the enemies are the people that you were interacting with. The fucking like battle against the church are like a bunch of people that you were like creating relationships with, and one of them's like a 12-year-old girl.
Oh,
and you're like, what the fuck? Well, again, you like literally saved from capturing from the people that you just joined. So it's like, what the fuck? So again, more story happens, and then after you eventually take out this church and claim it, again, after killing everyone in your path, including the people that you helped out immensely, now there's a time skip to like 10 years later where there's a never-ending war between the three houses, and you have to start attacking the other two houses and their nations and killing everyone you've met. And I'm just like, fuck.
Didn't it take you like 6 months to beat that game?
I've not beaten it.
Oh.
Because every battle takes so long because I'm like, I don't want to kill this guy. He was so cool.
End him.
I can't. I literally do everything in my fucking power to avoid them. I'm nearly sacrificed my own people just so I don't have to kill those characters. It sucks.
You'll never be good in warfare.
It sucks. It literally is emotionally draining. As soon as I beat that mission against like the taking over the church, I couldn't play it for a month. And then I played the next level against one of them, and I just like, I can't.
Didn't I buy that game for you?
No, I gave you the money for it, but you bought it and got protection on it because you worked at GameStop at the time.
Yeah.
But that game,
that's so funny.
It's so well. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad at all. It's a great game. It's so well written that it makes it so you have to like there's no good ending. I've found. What?
Some bagel would make sense. He says stab everyone.
I don't want to.
No.
They're my friends.
No, they're not.
They're my friends.
Not anymore.
Yes, they are.
You made the wrong choice, bucko.
It's so like, that's the whole point. Is like you have to fight your friends. And it doesn't matter. It's war. It's literally teaching you like the shit things about politics and war.
Well,
I was like,
no good part of politics and war.
I know.
No.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, but it like portrays that really well.
Right.
Like you're playing half of the game building relationships with these people, and now it's just like kill them all. And they're trying to kill you, and it makes sense. It's just like
didn't somebody beat that game in like 20 hours?
Probably. It's a long game. I've played it for a while. I need to beat it. I just haven't beaten it because it hurts.
Wow.
It hurts to play.
No.
It's a great game. Play it, but it hurts.
Do you think another game coming out will have this impact?
I know you're going to say Cyberpunk is why you're thinking this.
Kinda.
But no, not that I know of.
You don't think Ratchet and Clank will?
I don't think it'll have an impact on me.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe. We'll see. I think it looks really good. We'll see if it hits different.
I mostly say Cyberpunk, probably. mostly because I'm anticipating the game, and I think if they've.
Did you also see them joking on Twitter with I think it was Fall Guys, where they're like, we have a template for delaying things.
Yeah.
Did you see that? That was funny.
But so I don't know. I if they deliver on all their promises, I'm gonna love that game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I think might be pretty cool is the Gotham Knights.
I don't know if that'll impact me, but I do think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool in a way that we get to play with characters that don't always get the light shine on them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a team game that you can.
They only half the team.
Yeah, for some reason, but you get to develop your characters, and I hope it's more of a let's learn about these characters, not just throw them into a world that we already know about.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and then I think Godfall would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a severe difference between games that I like and games that hit different.
Yeah.
Like I really like the I don't know. Like I really like fucking Kirby games. Yeah. But I mean, they didn't really hit different with me.
Well, I'm saying like these games because for me most of the game comes about like the time I had playing them.
Mm-hmm.
And these games are ones I think that I'm going to have fun playing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I want to say like Gotham Knights and Godfall. I feel Gotham Knights is something that I feel like, okay, yeah, that's going to be cool because, you get to play with your friends and whatnot, depending on how I like the story, because I like the Arkham stuff. Mm-hmm. I know it's not technically Arkham, but it did kind of have that same impact, not as rough as the other ones, or like impactful as the other ones. But I'd like to know if that one, kind of speaks to me on a different level, because it kind of looks like it already does. From watching like the gameplay, I'm like, I think I could really get into that one. I think that would be cool. But Godfall, on the other hand, it deals with mythology. It's a kind of almost like a looter slasher, which I love that. And it kind of looks like it's wanting to follow after a Dark Souls type deal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's 3 things that I like right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like that one maybe could be like, all right, I like the idea of this one. Yeah. That's why I'm kind of like saying I think Godfall might be one of those just because of everything it's saying and what it could have. I'm like, I like the idea of all 3 things that you're talking about. Not to mention the game looks beautiful in itself.
Yeah.
And that you can play with people online.
I gotcha.
I'm just saying like at the combination of everything, I'm like, that seems like it could be something that's like, I want that one.
I can see that. I think part of the thing with me is like what makes a game hit different is I don't expect it.
Yeah.
Like, Persona 5, I was like, oh, I've heard people really like this game, and I think it looks cool. Let me try it out. And then I find out it's one of my favorite games of all time.
You're gonna love God of War then.
Hmm?
You're gonna love God of War. Oh, probably.
And then same thing with Fire Emblem. I was like, oh, this game looks pretty fun, and I've been wanting to get into Fire Emblem. Let me try it. And it just it hit me. I did not expect it. Like, I think that's part of the thing is if I don't expect it to hit different, then it hits different.
Right. I'm trying to think if there's like any other game that came close to that for me.
Like emotionally hit different?
Yeah.
Well, you're not a big story game guy, so I can.
That's true. So
I would not be surprised if nothing did. Really.
I feel like there's one that did. Well, there was like literally a game that I cried while playing. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't ever do this.
Yeah.
God, I can't remember it now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much of story games that you've played, though. Was it SpongeBob? Return to the Bikini Bottom.
That was it. Yeah, that one crushed
Battle
me.
for Bikini Bottom.
No,
Dude, when Patrick died. Oh, no, I know it was. It was when Goofy died. They'll pay for this. That fucking scene.
And then,
pay for this.
There's not to mention in the fucking Kingdom Hearts 3, the final attack that Donald does.
Oh my god, the fucking Zeta Flare or whatever. The Zeta, what is it?
It's Zeta Flare, I think.
Zeta Flare.
Like, or
where he dies and everyone's like, what?
That attack, if you look at Final Fantasy, has only been used once in the creation of the universe.
What the fuck?
And everybody's like, how did Donald just become the highest ranking mage in all of them?
Donald is a god.
While holding the fucking goofy looking staff.
Yeah.
The goddamn, like, with the little wizard
He
hat.
really ran. Zeta Flower and it's like,
what the fuck, Donald? What did you do?
I'm sorry, Donald. God, what was?
That's gonna bug you all day.
It
isn't
is. It really is.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's not common for me to get emotionally invested through like story games. I mean, it's been recently because JRPGs are heavy in story. But I don't know. I think maybe that was just. I guess I like Spider-Man. I think it had a pretty good story.
Spider-Man was good.
But I think I honestly enjoyed the gameplay more than story.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's like a lot of games that I could say hit different in like terms of gameplay, but those are the two that I can think because of story-wise. Like I would say Destiny hit different because I mean I've been playing Destiny since it came out for 6 years now or whatever. So
we both have, sadly.
Yeah, I like that game. So I mean it's the game I've clocked in the most hours in anything.
Right.
So that definitely hit different. But those are the two that like kind of stick out because of just their like personality.
Right.
Or something. But yeah. So.
Well.
Any others that you can think of?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
I mean, I have games that have memories tied to them, but nothing like crazy.
I got you. So yeah. Well, those were our games that hit different. You can let us know what games that you guys got that played that hit different in some way. You can let us know on our social media pages at IDC Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. We are also live here right now on twitch.tv/Identity Crisis Show, streaming Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 7 p.m. EST, and Saturday at 1 p.m. EST.
And it goes on to however long we need.
It goes on until however long we get tired.
Yep.
And we're saying, we're done.
Or one of us has to go to work.
That's also true.
Ugh.
So yeah, check out the podcast on Spotify, Identity Crisis Podcast. Check it out on YouTube, Identity Crisis Podcast, if you want to watch it with video. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
We'll catch y'all later. See ya.